What's going on, everybody? We've got JT here. We've got C-Will over at the Passive Income Network. We did just have David, but his internet's going in and out, so he just disappeared, actually. Oh, he's back. So we've got David over at Crypto for Change. We might not have him for long. We'll see. Who knows? But how's everyone doing today?
Doing pretty good.
I'm good, man. It's sunny out in Portland. That always gets me excited and happy. I exercised already. I took a nice walk, and now I'm with the fellas going live, so I'm feeling good.
It's been a while since I've seen the sun. I've only seen dirty diapers and crying baby.
Oh man!
Yeah, how's the baby, David?
3 weeks. It's been a change for sure with just time and sleep, and I mean all the things you are kind of warned about when having a child. But it's been a lot of fun.
Oh
Okay.
man!
I'm finished for him. He says it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah,
it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I don't know if my connection. I've tried resetting everything. If it just keeps knocking me out, I may just bounce and let you guys pull it through, just so you don't have me jumping in and out the whole entire thing. But I'll try to stay as long as my internet connection will let me.
Hey, well,
or you can always turn the phone sideways.
True.
I may try to do the phone. Yeah,
because that'll work.
So let's just jump right into one of the topics that's like probably on everyone's mind in the Algorand community, which is Algorand governance. I think the sign-up period just ended, or it's about to end.
Ago,
30 minutes ago. Let's see.
Something like that. Yeah, I was looking at it this morning.
What was the final amount? Let's see. I'll share my
4.1.
screen real quick. Oh,
Yeah,
he's out of here.
50% of governance. I saw Michael Jordan posted it.
All right. So
highest
that was like 12 hours ago. So now it's 4.1 billion. I actually think this is closer to 60% of the circulating supply now.
Hey.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah, what's good, Damien? What's good, Goblin John?
4.1 divided by 6.9 equals. That's about 59.5% of the circulating supply now committed to governance, and that's not even including the 2.5 million algo that's committed to the online stake itself. So I mean, some of those are interchanged because things like AlgoFi let you participate in both consensus and governance through their vaults. So some of those are the same algo, but really there's probably like 65% of algo that are either locked into really locked for consensus or for governance, or both.
Hey, so how's that make y'all feel about your bags?
I mean, it's exciting to see the engagement, but I also was slightly hoping that maybe we'd have a little bit of a higher APR this year, just on like a greedy side of things. But I do really like seeing the engagement. I think it's good for Algorand as a whole. I think it's good for the community as a whole. So overall, I think it's great, and I think that we've seen 3 or 4x the use of DeFi options for governance this time, and we're seeing it reflected in the TVL, which is great.
Yeah, I agree with that one. I wanted at least over 10%, APR, but we'll be good with a close to 8. I'm okay with that. I implemented some strategies to put a few thousand more algos into the vaults and stuff, and then hopefully we'll get a lot of people drop out towards the end, so we can get that APR back up to around 10% and not. But I'm definitely excited for the growth of the ecosystem and the community, and that means like we're all doing our job, educating people, and then getting new people integrated into the Algorand governance.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've seen some really impressive numbers right here in the TVL. We're pretty close to all-time highs. Like all-time high, I think, is 237, and this is not including borrows, and we're at 199 just about. So about 30-40 million to go, and we'll be at all-time highs in USD value, not including borrows. But some of the really impressive stuff. Like if we go over to overview over here. And these are all the protocols, and you click on 7-day change, and you see Folks Finance here, number 4. I kind of, in my opinion, it's probably really number 2 or number 3, because some of these are so small that this one's had 27,000% change. But what's that from like 10 TVL? You know what I mean?
10 million TVL is not as much.
Exactly. But yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
pretty great to see on the 7-day change. We've got Folks Finance up there in the top 10. The other day we had Guard up there in the top 10 as well. Now it's in the top 12.
Yeah.
But a lot of protocols have been seeing, some pretty significant TVL increases. The other day, Folks Finance was the #1 increase across the entirety of DeFi, which is pretty
Amazing.
great.
Yeah, click the Algorand chain.
Yeah, we can go over to chains real quick, and let's see. You'll see Algorand bumped up to 21, and before that it was I don't know, probably like 27 or
Yeah, it was
26.
close to 30, yeah.
And you click on that. I think I just did the market cap to TVL ratio earlier, and we got around 11 for a market cap TVL ratio, which is not good yet, but it's so much better than where it was when I first started doing this ratio. It was in like 70s or 80s, and the closer to zero, the better. The closer to zero, the more like undervalued it is.
Undervalued, yep.
Further away from zero, the more overvalued it is, at least by this particular metric. Not every single way you can value a crypto, but by this metric. We're getting much more closely to reasonably and then undervalued, which is nice to see.
So Algo right now is close to 200 million total value locked.
Yeah, we're almost there. We're almost there.
And
How's
the
the
day that we hit
Sorry,
1
we're
billion,
trying to deal with internet issues all at the same time as doing the show, but we've got this.
David's back.
We are back.
For now.
For now. We're back for now. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it for governance right now. I mean, the signups just ended. We've got 3 months to go for the period to claim our rewards. Unless you're using Folks Finance, you can claim early, which is nice. But any speculation on what the votes might be about this year, what the measures might be, or this period, not year, sorry.
Honestly,
As soon as I pulled the minis out.
I know. Honestly, I have like no idea, and I haven't seen anything in the Twitterverse. I haven't seen anything. Stacy hasn't made no announcements. What about you, David? You know anything about what's going to happen?
I'm gonna bounce just so I don't keep having to come in and out. I don't even know, I might go out while even saying this, but I'll add this. This will be what I add if my internet connection will let me out. It's weird that we had the huge CPI, highest it's been in 40 years, and right now everything's pumping. I'm seeing it as a fake out. I feel like we're going to be seeing some lower numbers, some crazy stuff's coming down the road. I'm preparing to open a short position, especially if I see Algo pop up to like 36 cents or somewhere around there. I think I'm going to open one and I'm going to ride that short, hopefully down into the low 20s, maybe even to the teens. Really, it just depends. But I'm kind of surprised with the kind of the momentum we're seeing right now. I don't know what your all's thoughts are. Y'all could continue with that. But at least my internet connection gave me enough to say that.
I actually agree with that sentiment a lot. I was really surprised by the price action and still am surprised. But when you look at the last like 6 inflation reads, actually now 7, but before this past one, the last 6, 5 out of 6 of them, prices went down. 1 out of 6 prices still went up, and it was a bad read. So like, it's not an every time thing, but between the inflation reading and then the rate hikes, the prices did come back down. So I do agree that I think it's more of a fake out right now. I think prices are rising for really no reason, because the bond market right now is pricing in with almost an 80% certainty 100 basis point hike for the Federal Reserve, which would nuke the market. That's the highest one they've done yet, and they've I don't know. I don't see this price action being sustainable. So I actually completely agree with David.
Yeah, same here. And Canada did 100 basis point hike, and not looking good when you see some of our neighboring countries doing the same thing. And on the side note, if we look at inflation, right, we got protesting now in like Ghana. We got multiple Arab countries, multiple European and African countries all simultaneously happening, and it's because they have high food prices. Some of them can't even afford to export grain and things of that nature. And this is spreading global, and I'm not surprised that our inflation is at 9.1%. And then the real inflation is definitely with if you look at food, all the things that we actually use is probably more like 20%. And I wrote in my notes too that if you did not receive a raise of at least 3.6% last year, you definitely are down. But we can kind of bring that up to 9%. If you didn't make a 10% raise, you're pretty much down.
Yeah, absolutely. I was looking at something the other day that basically did the math that if your portfolio is not making like 12% or something like that, you know, your real dollars effectively are zero because you get taxed. You know, you get the 9.1% inflation, and
Yep.
then the capital gains taxes on top of that. If you're not making more than 12% this year on your portfolio, you're basically real dollars net negative.
Yep. And then if most people, if you got a heavy crypto portfolio, you down 70, 80, 90% on top
Yeah,
of
I
that,
mean, yeah,
depending on where you purchased. But
nobody has to worry about capital gains taxes this year.
no, like we all should need some need some help with that. But I know my capital gains is gonna be like whatever. But
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
getting real out here. So
I
leave some
mean,
comments below. Let us some thoughts of what you thinking about the CPI and inflation, and possibly how is it affecting your life.
yeah,
That's
how's
what
it
I'm always
affecting you?
curious.
Let us know. This
Yeah,
is a really interesting story that Seawheel sent to us earlier. I mean, I saw it on Twitter, but let's examine it further because this
yeah.
is so strange. So we all heard about 3AC, you know, basically
Three
imploding the
arrows.
crypto market with all of their liquidations. But you know, the founders of the bankrupt crypto hedge fund 3AC now go missing as investors try to recoup assets, which really interesting. Lawyers representing 3AC's creditors say the physical whereabouts of Suzu and Kyle are currently unknown. The court filing from Friday also alleges that the founders have not yet begun to cooperate with the liquidation process in any meaningful manner, which I guess would make sense if they have no idea where they even are. So,
Yeah. Hey, if y'all listen to Plies, you know what I'm about to say. They ran off on the plug.
yeah, they
So
dipped.
that means, yeah, they're skating out. It seems like they're hiding after they made terrible moves with leverage. Now they are on the run. I wonder how much money that they got away with personally.
Yeah, it makes me think um, how much of their business dealings were actually like illegitimate, and it was they're running for more than just the reason that they lost a bunch of money. Because if you lose a bunch of money, you can file for bankruptcy. I mean,
Oh,
yeah, things suck. I mean, it is what it is. But like, if if a lot of your operation was illegal in a Ponzi scheme, then maybe you're going to run away because you don't even want to deal with any regulators or any authority whatsoever. Which I'm kind of leaning that route, but it's all alleged, of course.
yeah, it's all alleged. But they definitely could have multiple governments wanting to send them to prison for what they're doing right now. Uh, British Virgin
Absolutely.
Islands, huh?
Yeah, the firm filed for Chapter 15 bankruptcy protection from U.S. creditors, uh, but yeah, they have not been participating, which is just so. I
It's
really do
weird.
wonder where they are. Prior to the bankruptcy filing, a court in the British Virgin Islands ordered the beleaguered fund. What an interesting word to liquidate in order to pay back its debts.
Well,
It's like,
Goblin John says, my lifestyle is pretty simple. I'll be all right, even with inflation, learning some new skills. Positive attitude.
absolutely. There you go.
Well,
And
you
we
know,
got
my,
another thing with similar to 3AC, we've all heard the news about the Celsius liquidations, but you know
pull it up.
they're taking it one step further now by filing for bankruptcy. It's a little different than Chapter 15, but it's I think a Chapter 11
11,
bankruptcy,
yeah.
which is a little
Restructuring. Yep.
it's a little different, but I don't know if they're going to be allowed to do it personally because Chapter 11 bankruptcy, not to get into like the weeds about it, but it's usually not meant for brokerages. So they're basically claiming by doing Chapter 11 that they're not a brokerage, even though they've said this entire time. Yeah, so I don't know. We'll see.
Ooh, so now they're claiming something that they're not. That's sketchy as well.
Well, yeah, basically it's set for like banks, and they're basically trying to like use a loophole that like saying now that they're kind of should be treated like a bank, even though before they weren't as well. So I don't know. There's weird loopholes, right, that they're trying to pull to do the Chapter 11, but I don't think they're actually gonna be allowed to do it.
Hey, you know, crypto is bad right now. Like I was talking to my mom yesterday, and she just telling me, make sure you ain't got your crypto out there because they they going under and they filing for bankruptcies. And I was like, but she don't know a damn thing about crypto, but
Oh
it's
man,
bad news out there. And she telling me about it.
that's so funny. That's so funny.
Yeah.
You know, the other day, actually yesterday, I was buying so much GAlgo on the open market. Actually, John just sent me a message from Transaction Lab, and yeah, he messaged me with a screenshot of all the transactions, and he was just seeing my JT Invest in You wallet, just like buying constantly 1,000 increments, just like GAlgo constantly, GAlgo, and he was
That's
like,
that
stop.
arbitrage.
He was like, stop buying all the GAlgo, like let it come down a little bit.
Silly. Yeah, shout out to
Oh man.
NF Domains.
Yeah, NF
Big
Domains,
shout out.
fantastic product. Definitely check them out. It's really cool too because not only does it help with like you know, wallet integrations and things like that, but you can also attach any website to it as well. I could have jtinvestsinyou.algo.xyz, and it could pull up to any website that I want it to redirect to, which is really
Amazing.
nice. I mean, it's fine for regular websites, but it'd be also really nice for like IPFS addresses that are just like huge strings of letters and numbers. Because I know, a lot of NFT images are stored on the IPFS,
Yep.
in IPFS. So, and those addresses are just like numbers and letters, basically just like a wallet is. So you could have it redirect to that. You could be like this NFT.algo.xyz, and it'll bring you, right to the image.
Yeah, definitely. And then you can link it to the NFT Explorer, one of my favorite sites.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. I still have to reset mines up. I gotta, like I was telling you in the DMs, I got a little shy about showing my wallet, but I got more than one wallet, so I'm not tripping. So and then like David said, he gone, but he was like, I don't care about showing them my bad trades.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I understand the concerns, but I mean, I already had put my wallet address on the screen many times for donations. So if people wanted to put it all together, they could have put it all together. It is what it is. But let's move on to at least one new hire. We've spoken about new hires before, but Algorand Foundation just keeps pumping out more and more new hires, and now we've got this dude Alberto, which honestly I'm not even going to try to pretend to be able to. Let's see if I can zoom in real quick. I'm not even going to try to pretend to be able to pronounce his last name. Let's see. As Algorand. Oh, Jesus. What just happened? I'm going to just switch to this. This is LinkedIn. They've hired Alberto Cribiore, or I don't know. I can't do it. For the last 14 years, he's been the vice chairman of Citigroup. So this is the second person they brought over from Citigroup. This is a really, really, really big guy over at Citigroup to really help lead the TradFi to DeFi transition. It's as Stacy has mentioned many times. I know a lot of us don't like or think some of these big banks may or may not have done plenty of corrupt dealings, but it is true that it seems to be a one-way road from TradFi to to DeFi, which is really, really interesting. And not every single person that works for these organizations actually appreciates how they operate. And some
If
of them
you're
are.
an Oregon homeowner, 2022 is your.
Oh,
sorry.
That's okay. I was so confused.
Yeah, click the link. Didn't mean
But
to do that.
there's a lot of people that end up, kind of getting sick of their jobs working for the banks and go, you know what, this is a better option, and take that one-way path over. So, I'm delighted to see it overall. I had a conversation with the new global head of business development and capital markets the other day. Another brand new hire as well from a big bank, and I believe 20 years at JP Morgan, I believe.
Yeah.
And he's a wonderful guy, and he basically had like a similar sentiment. He's like very, he had a good experience at JP Morgan, but he was excited to be on to better things. You know what I mean? So,
well, I mean, I think it's a natural transition or progression to go from traditional banking, just like Stacy, to Web3, which is just a new form of banking, a decentralized banking. Only makes sense. But one thing I like about Alberto, it was Alberto?
Yeah, it is Alberto.
Yeah. Alberto, that I've seen just by looking at LinkedIn only. I have not researched him, so make sure y'all do go research. But he has a long tenure at his jobs. Right, he's there for 10, 11, 12 years. So that means he stayed down and consistent in the banking world. And Citibank, shout out to them. Just did a quick look. Their original company's been around since the 1800s. I always like that because that means they have evolved. They survived over the years of all the crashes. Then a guy like Alberto has a lot of information and knowledge that he can then bring to the table, because we can consider this is I guess crypto now is definitely correlated to all the equities markets, all the big banking. It seems like it wasn't. Yeah, at this point, it's definitely just another commodity or asset class. Maybe was it 13th asset class, and a guy like that should be able to help lead us or partner up with the rest of that Algorand new hires to lead us in a right direction. From my understanding, Citibank doesn't have big scandals like some of the other ones out there. What else you know about Citibank, JT?
I'd imagine they've got their fair shares of pros and cons out there, but I can't say to have fairly researched Citibank. But moving on to a little bit more about Alberto, he was the vice chairman and institutional clients group at Citi, a role he has held since 2008, which encompasses all Citi activities except the consumer bank. As member of the senior advisory group, Alberto served some of Citi's largest and most important clients, interfacing with CEOs and board of directors of global companies, governments, and central banks to ensure that Citi can provide them with the best-in-class advice and services. So it looks like he's got a lot of experience, dealing with some of the bigger players around the world, whether it be business leaders, whether it be governments, whether it be other banks. So, I mean,
A native
however
of
we might feel
Milan.
about it, the connections are very important. This is crypto is meant to be global. You need global connections to make it happen. So, I mean, this is just a part of the
Facts.
piece of the puzzle.
Facts. Yeah, I seen that he's from Milan, which is dope. So Silvio recruiting out here.
Yep. It's the Silvio recruitment team, I think now. Oh man,
Yes.
that's funny. That's
Yeah,
funny. All right,
definitely.
so let's see. What else should we bring up? Let's bring up some Agrotoken.
Yeah, what's up
done
with the Agrotoken?
I haven't done too much research about this, but they have an alliance with Visa. So Agrotoken strengthens its alliance with Visa by incorporating Pomelo and Algorand, and I'm not sure what this is, but I'm sure we'll find out.
Yeah, I have to
To
look
the
it up.
development of agriculture-oriented card. Let's see. Agrotoken, the first global tokenization infrastructure for agro commodities, is partnering with Pomelo and Algorand as strategic allies for the implementation and development of a card designed for the agricultural sector. So basically, what I think they're going to do is basically start tokenizing commodities and also start kind of helping with like supply chain issues. But last month, Agrotoken announced a partnership with Visa, the world-leading company in digital payments, to co-create a payment method that enables agricultural producers to use their grains as a form of payment through a card. The goal of this collaboration is to design a digital solution that allows the emission of digital and physical cards under Visa standards and enable the use of financial tools and products for a smooth payment experience using the Agrotoken and Visa features. Along these lines, Agrotoken incorporates Pomelo as the infrastructure to issue, distribute, and process the payments made with the card, which will soon be supported in any store that accepts Visa. And on the other hand, the Algorand blockchain will make all operations transparent, fast, secure, with high scalability and low energy consumption, as it has been built focusing on sustainability in order to minimize the environmental impact, an approach diametrically opposed to other networks currently in operation. That was written pretty well.
Yeah. Wow. So that's
So
big
the
news
first,
there.
so the first Algorand project kind of partnering with Visa. So I mean,
Yeah. That's
it's
what I
just
heard caught was Visa.
it's more and more pieces of that puzzle just getting placed together. It's I honestly, even though this bear market kind of sucks, I definitely am very excited for what's to come after this bear market ends, because just like every bull market ends, every bear market ends as well. We can't really predict with certainty when it's going to end, but we can definitely predict it's going to end. And if it doesn't, that just probably means like the world's collapsing and we have a lot more to worry about than
Yeah.
Algorand, honestly.
Hey, facts. Because I seen a chart that it was on Earn Your Leisure show or podcast or Twitter. So they posted it, but it's like the average bear market lasted about a year and a half, and the bull
Yep.
runs were roughly 5 to 6 years. So my idea is that okay, if we are in this to what you always say, what about 2024, that is okay.
Oh
It's
yeah.
just more time to build and my words all messed up today. Accumulate, right? More algos, and that's what I'm doing. But then for the foundation, yes, new hires, more partnerships, and I'm loving this Visa thing. I think Visa needs to definitely be integrated more. Um, just building, right? And another jump, I seen Disney got a fund out, and they're working with cryptos. So all these big multinational corporations are just tapping in, and they tapping in, and we know that Algorand is going to keep doing this thing. It will be hard not to,
Yep.
especially with all these new hires. Got me freaking hype. And the Europe market, I want to see them take over the Europe market as well.
Yeah, it'd be really interesting. Um, I do completely agree, and it's really just one of those things that just puts Algorand's name out there more and more, and that's
Yeah.
that's truly what needs to happen. And I do agree, like any sort of partnership with a big institution like Visa is tremendously welcomed.
Yeah, because if you think about it, what Visa, their transactions is next level, but blockchain is still a little bit better with the transparency and the actual moving of assets rather than clicking numbers. So that's a huge partnership. And I do have my Visa crypto card with crypto.com. I'll be using that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting. How's that work? Fill us in about that. I've never used any of the crypto cards from any of the services that offer them.
Well, it was pretty cool. So, like I said, I think I said about a week ago, I'm using my Hawaii card more, but so it's like a prepaid debit card. And I liked it because it's a metal prepaid debit card. For one, I can buy crypto for 0 fees. You do a bank transfer from your bank account directly to crypto.com and it goes in your fiat wallet. And if you want to upload cash to your prepaid Visa card, that's how you do it. You upload, and then every time you swipe, depending on your rates of tiers, you can get 2 to 5% CRO coin, which is their native token, and cashback rewards. And then there's other ways to spend that throughout their platform. But I was using that just to collect the easy, passive income, we'll say, from just spending.
Yeah,
Pretty
that's
dope.
it's funny you mentioned the metal card. I have a Apple card that's metal, and it's like my favorite card just for that simple reason. It makes no
Yeah,
sense, but
the metal ones are amazing. Yeah,
let's look at a little price action real quick. I just pulled up the chart over here, and this is Algorand's price action since really December. It's been stuck in this downward channel since like November, December or so.
yeah,
These lines I'll explain real quick. The blue vertical lines are the CPI prints. The yellow vertical lines are the rate hikes and the future rate hike. And obviously these diagonal lines going down to the channel it's in, the green and red. And then these ones right here are just kind of buy and sell zones for this area it's been in. They're kind of insignificant. I could delete those. But one interesting thing is Algorand has had this bit of resistance right here. I'm going to make this a solid line and make it bigger so everybody can see it. Since May 16th, it's been stuck behind this resistance in this broader channel, and it's breaking out of it right now, which is shocking to me considering we just got a 9.1 CPI print right here on this blue line. But I can't imagine, like I said, it sustains. I mean, maybe it'll get into this red box right here, into the sell zone that I have for this little area that it's been in, and come back down before the June 20 or July 26 rate hike, which is definitely, in my opinion, going to be at least 75 basis points again, and
yeah.
a huge possibility of it being 100, which would be kind of wild. But I am very, very shocked to see a breakout happening of resistance after the craziest CPI print in over 40 years.
Yeah, it's definitely got to be a fake out because it just doesn't make any sense.
I mean, people would just argue that it's all priced in at this point, but I'm just not convinced
You
that
argue that,
that's
yeah.
the case. But we'll see. We'll see with time. I did open up a small short position. Honestly, almost perfectly timed. It was like basically right here on the come down. I don't know if you can see this. I'll zoom in a little bit. It was basically right here on the come down, and I was like, all right, cool, it's doing. But then it popped back up, so I'm basically at break even again. So, that short position, I'm going to leave open because I do think that it's gonna
Going
come
back
back down. But if it breaks out of this channel above, uh, I'll be watching it, but I still don't think it's going to break out of this broader channel. So even if it breaks out of
Let's
this sell zone right here and out of this little area, it'll likely get rejected up here around 40, 41 cents tops, and then come back down because until it breaks this channel that it's been in since November, almost 8 months now.
Yeah.
You kind of have to assume that the trend is going to continue.
Yeah, like with my shorts, I've been doing a few of them. Like every time we get a spike, I didn't hit this one yet, and I might depending on after this video. But definitely, it's been working out well because, like you just described, that trend is clearly on the downtrend. I like looking at that fear and greed index. It kind of is on the downtrend as well. You could see when we was all happy and euphoric, and we're all just cash flowing. So we definitely just still going down. And could you also pull up? I know we got the dollar index, but the oil as well, because I know oil has went down at like a big rate. Gas, I guess, nationwide is like lower 30 cents right now. What do you feel about the oil spiking, or excuse me, going down, and how you feel about it going back up? 'Cause I know we're not out of we're just starting in a recession basically.
Yeah, no, I agree, and it's kind of bizarre, honestly. But I do have one of the chart and try to pull up real quick before I pull up that one. But I'm having a little bit of trouble over here on my end doing that. Um, you know what it is? I took my laptop out of this out of the office the other day, and then it just disconnected like all of my settings on everything when I plugged it back in.
Oh, terrible, terrible.
But I did notice when I'm trying to look up. Well, I'll just explain what until I can figure it out. You know how we realized that the dollar is correlated inversely to the crypto market. So as the dollar moves up, crypto moves down. Well, I found a currency where it's almost a perfect correlation, and it's kind of terrifying. It's the euro, which is almost perfectly correlated with crypto in current moments, which is kind of kind of not cool if you think about it, because I personally think the euro is going to get destroyed over the next couple of months, and if that correlation continues, and it's basically been a constant correlation since like the inception of Bitcoin, then I think crypto could move down as well. Yeah, I didn't know this either, and I looked it up the other day, and I was like really shocked by the correlation, honestly.
That's crazy. I do know the euro and the dollar is about the same price right now.
Yeah, they're almost at parity, which is just kind of wild, honestly.
Wild. Like I haven't seen that.
Let's see. Let me get rid of.
All right, so let me read a comment. Mike says, "Do you think Alvarado has any short-term upside as the Tokenomics same design to hold back price?" Oof, I don't even know what that means.
Boom. Here it is. And you can see like this is going back years. I mean, the top in 2017 was like it's only been off by like maybe 1 to 3 months when I checked it. So the top in Bitcoin was followed by the top in the euro just like a month or two after that. These tops over here, almost a perfect correlation. I mean, obviously not to the exact extent, but pretty much perfectly. Like as the euro goes down, crypto goes down. As the euro goes up, Bitcoin goes up. As the euro goes down, Bitcoin goes down. And this has been a trend for, even if you zoomed in here, this is logarithmic, so this looks flat, but this is from 2017 to like 2013. There's a lot of price action there. And if I zoom in there, you'll see this very similar correlation for almost the entirety of Bitcoin, which is super interesting, but also super worrisome, because unless it breaks that correlation, I think the euro's in for some more hot water, personally.
Yeah, I mean, they got a lot of stuff going on too. So it's a lot of pressure to the downside for them, but it is kind of scary that Bitcoin's following the euro or paired to it essentially.
Yep.
You gonna pull up the dollar chart as well?
I'm trying to pull up the oil chart. Is that what you were asking?
Oil, excuse me. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna look it up on TradingView because I don't know exactly what it is, but let's see.
Yeah, because it hit $90 a barrel from the last time I looked at it, and it was. Let's see if I can.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's coming up too much. It's still on a downtrend. Let's see. This is crude oil. Let's see. I'll zoom in a little bit. It'll let me. I can't really zoom in right now for some reason. But as you see, crude oil went from in January 85 a barrel all the way up to 122 in June, and has had some relief bounces on the way back down, but it is still like well below that 122. It's at 96 now, which is still high. It's still too high.
Still high.
But it's not 122, which in my opinion is actually part of the reason why we might be seeing a slight bounce in the market, because although we had a terrible inflation reading of 9.1, that could be the peak, because there's a lot of commodities with this exact same chart where you see in June they start coming down. But the CPI data, CPI data lags about a month, so actually really a little bit more. So it might not have this data in it. So the next month's CPI data will have the inflection of these commodity pricing. So I do think there's a huge chance that we see inflation readings of like the 6 or 7% next month, which would be a drastic reduction compared to this 9.1. So it'll be really interesting. I do think that's potentially why we're seeing a bounce, but I also think it's more than likely that it's just going to get taken away from everybody.
Yeah, be careful, y'all. Be careful. That's what we can say about that. Dead cat bounce, fake outs, all of it is happening right now.
Peter Schiff's gold not doing so hot.
That's funny.
Oh,
yeah.
Man.
Yeah, gold is not hot right now. Still solid over time, but not hot right now.
Let's see. We've got wheat year to date coming down as well since May. It hit it hit its high in March, but it almost hit that same high in May. And it's been on a steady decline since, which is really good to see, because all this really means is we'll eventually, as long as this decline continues, we'll see better CPI readings over over the next couple of months. which
Yeah, no. Hopefully,
hopefully
yeah,
is good for the market, because then it signals to the Federal Reserve that maybe they can pause interest rate hikes, or maybe go back to 25 basis point interest rate hikes or something, which would be very welcomed by people like me, and I think everybody out there, really.
yes. Please go down, Mr. Fed.
We've got Mike's, I can't pronounce your last name. Thanks for tuning in, asking about Algorand tokenomics, which is a loaded question, I think. A lot of people have it, baked into their mind that Algorand has the worst tokenomics, as if like everything in life is constant. And it is true that Algorand did have some unfortunate tokenomics in the beginning.
Yep.
But it is also true that a lot of that is behind us at this point. A lot of the tokenomics concerns was surrounding the fact that at one point there was like 1.5 billion circulating algo, and now there's like 7, and that was basically almost all in 2021. So that's like a huge amount of dilution, which is unfortunate. I mean, we can't. There's no way around that. That is unfortunate, but
Yeah.
it is also true that at that point in time we had 12% of the circulating supply out there, and now we have 70% of the circulating supply. So your circulating supply can't increase by 2 or 3x like it did in this past year. There's only 30% to go, and the release schedule is until 2030. So yeah, Algorand did have in the beginning tokenomics that held it back because of how many tokens were entering circulation in such a short amount of time. 100% true, and there's no denying that. But going forward, there's so little tokens comparatively. We're at 70% at this point. There's only 30% to be released over the next 8 years. So the emission rate now is getting less and less. I think it's like 3 or 4% inflation if you divide that and annualize it, which is less than half of the inflation we're seeing on the USD right now. So I don't know.
Yeah. That's funny. I mean, yeah, a good breakdown. That's definitely the tokenomics that I see. It's getting better over time. And
Yeah.
I got a video with Because You're Bored. He'll be hopping on my channel next week to talk about macroeconomics. Always controversial and always very informative. So make sure y'all tune in. But the last time he hopped on a few months ago, he was talking about Algorand and YLDY's token dilution, which again was people were kind of irritated the way he breaks it down, but he's always like to seem to be on point, right? And what we're seeing is what JT said. Over time, Algorand's tokenomics is better. And it's clearly better because if there's less coins coming into the market in the next 8 years, what does that mean, right? Less selling pressure and all that. People like us are going to be buying. We have so many applications on this blockchain now that I can't even keep up. I used to be able to name them on one hand, right? And now things are popping everywhere, which means all of these people need algos to run their NFTs, to run their projects, all the lime wires out there, the dequencies. We all need to be participating in algos. And then retail investors, of course, scooping them up. So we got 8 years of this.
I personally think, because I think there's a huge bullish case for Algorand in general. So in a sense, if you do believe that and you have that level of conviction, those tokenomic woes were almost maybe a blessing in disguise, because you're able to accumulate almost artificially cheap Algorand because it's being price suppressed by the dilution over time. And now we're reaching a point where that dilution is basically disappearing, or slowing down tremendously, to a point where it eventually, in a couple of years, Algorand's going to be deflationary. Everyone was talking about how it's super inflationary, but it's not going to be too long until the token's deflationary. I mean, there's no more tokens to come out after 2030. There's 10 billion tokens total. There's 7 billion out in circulation currently. And you have to consider all the ones that get locked up in wallets along the way, people that lose their passwords, people that get locked out and can't get back in, people that, God forbid, pass away and nobody knows the keys to their wallets. There's and just consider the fact that you need a certain amount of algo in your wallet based on how many tokens you're opted into. So there's like 26 algo right now that I can't even access in my wallet because of all the different tokens and assets I've opted into in that wallet. And you just multiply that out across the ecosystem as more mass adoption happens. It might be well before 2030 that Algorand becomes deflationary. So I don't know. I think some of the criticisms are valid to a degree, but it's not the whole picture. And I think you do need to see the whole picture. But when you have, Because You're Bored on your channel, can you ask why he blocked me?
Yeah, I will. That's funny. Most definitely. We'll figure that out. I'm going to say, hey, man, unblock everybody.
I
People
mean, it
watch.
is what it is. Like, I like a lot of his charts. I mean, we probably aren't
Me
going to
too.
agree on everything. So I don't know what, I mean, maybe we disagreed on something, but you can't agree with everybody on everything. Like, I don't even agree with myself on everything. Like, later on today, I'll be like, why did I say that? You know? So I don't know.
Yes, I agree with you on that one. Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll say something. Yeah, people, people get salty, right? They get salty for whatever that reason. Most of us, we interact how we interact, and people, like we said, the emotions are running wild because we're talking about money. So
Yeah.
people hate when you, like I learned this from a guy that I watch, is like never knock an asset class, like never disrespect a asset class or someone's token or stock, because we as people take this shit offensively. Like we're married to our bags, even though we shouldn't be. So it's like a direct attack. That's how people be feeling. And
Yeah, we definitely shouldn't be. But I
yeah,
agree with that. I agree with that notion, and it is just overall better practice to highlight what if you're trying if you do think whatever token or whatever that you're holding is better, highlight why it's better. Highlight all the things it's
exactly.
doing on why it's better, not why the other thing, why its opponents aren't good, but why what you're holding is good. That I think that's always the better focus, and it's easy to get lost in that. Sometimes I'm saying that for myself, sometimes I'm saying that for all of you out there, but we're all guilty of it. It's from time to time, but it's certainly a good thing to keep in mind.
Most definitely. So yeah, I try to keep it. I keep it all good. If I don't like something, that doesn't. I just won't talk about it. Usually, I may leave a little tweet here and there, but I'm like, no FUD for me.
Yeah.
Only facts in
Yeah,
a
no, I
good
mean,
manner.
I've been guilty of it, but you just got to
Right?
remind yourself,
Yeah.
to not do that. But I think we're running out of topics over here. Here, we discussed pretty much everything that I wanted to
Yeah.
touch on real quick. Is there anybody in the audience that wants us to discuss on something before we get on out of here, or if not, we'll just call it an early show. Appreciate everyone that tuned into the show. Let me actually just share something real quick.
I'm checking,
Um,
making sure that I ain't missing nothing.
let's see. Has anyone ever heard of the Algorand stats page? This is
Yeah.
actually one of my favorite pages to check. It's called algorandstats.com, and you can view all sorts of things. So you can see the current governance APR, which is 7.27%. You can see the committed algos, although I think this isn't updated in real time because it
It
does
should
say
be
on the
4 billion.
yeah, it does say on the governance site that it's 4.1 billion. So maybe this isn't a real-time update, but that being said, so this might come down a little bit, but you can compare it to the previous governance periods. One of the cool things that I like is you get to see all the eligible wallets. You get to see as they fall out of eligibility too. You get to see how many governors were committed. Let's see. You can see how many governors drop out today, drop out in total, how many algos drop out today, how many in total. It's a really great website. So definitely just check that out if you're interested in data like I am. And yeah, I think we'll wrap it up there, really.
Yes, I think that's a good wrap up for sure.
Absolutely. So I appreciate everyone that tuned in to this video. Unfortunately, David, had some connection issues, and we really have no idea what that issue was. Hopefully, we'll get it squared away by the next video. If you appreciate the content that we bring out, hit a like, hit a subscribe on both of our channels. Maybe consider donating to that QR code that you see in the bottom right of your screen. That is a multi-sig wallet controlled by David, C. Will, and I. So, of course, all that money is to the channel itself. It's not to any individual person, and it's just going to go to growing the channels, whether we need equipment for our channels, whether we need a software for editing, whether we're just trying to market it or something, guess
Yes.
whatever it might be. That's where all the funds will be used for, and we appreciate everyone that tuned into this video. Thanks.
Yeah. Thanks for tapping in, y'all. Make sure you have a great day. Show love to your friends and family.